Welcome back, everybody. We are at Austin Peay State University in the Clement Auditorium, and we've got Peter Jordan with us. Now, Peter, we're taping this on Monday, and Peter's going to be speaking tonight to he wants to come actually about the paranormal, or you tell me exactly what you're going to be talking about.
All right. Well, let me see. I don't know where to start, except that I've been a researcher of paranormal phenomena, the unexplained, for a very long time, for about 30 some odd years now. People always ask me how I got started. It wasn't something that I naturally gravitated to. I was very interested in magic when I was a young boy. I started reading about Harry Houdini, the escape artist, who I found out was very interested also in the paranormal, but from a skeptical point of view. And he was able to unmask a lot of fraudulent mediums that were working in his time by showing how they were able to do what they did through magic and through sleight of hand, etc. And I became intrigued by that. So I started researching ghosts and paranormal phenomena and mediums and seances and poltergeist phenomena, demonic possession, all of that. And gradually, as I began to investigate it more and more, I began to realize, you know, some of this, yes, can be explained through misinterpretation of natural phenomenon, through psychological factors, through hallucinations, delusions, mental illness, etc. But there seems to be a very prominent subset of these cases that I was looking at, which seemed to defy rational explanations. And those were the ones that started drawing me more and more into it and started to inspire me to take it more seriously.
Now, there are, in anything like this, where there's an unexplained and all this, you run into people who really know what they're doing, and then you run into some people who may or may not give what you do a good name. So give me a little bit background on I know you've been doing it for 35 years, but why are you an expert where maybe somebody else isn't?
Okay. Well, first of all, education to me is very important. Understanding the background, the history of this, and knowing something about psychology, for example. I have a master's in psychology. I have a BA degree in philosophy. I've done postgraduate work in psychology. I did my thesis on hypnosis. So I know a great deal about altered states of consciousness. I know a great deal about how the mind can deceive itself and deceive us into thinking that something is happening one way when it's not. So I know a great deal about all of that. So what I've been able to bring to the field is an understanding about psychological factors in particular that can help us to sort of separate the wheat from the chaff. Those cases in which we can explain things, and those cases in which it doesn't seem possible that the current contemporary psychological body of knowledge that we have is sufficient to explain a lot of these things away, as so many art skeptics believe that they are.
So if we're talking right now and I just come up to you and I say, are ghosts real? And maybe that's too simplistic, but that's what a lot of the people here are going to be thinking tonight or wondering tonight. What's the pat answer for something like that?
Well, first of all, the perception of ghosts, in many cases, I think, is obviously real. It's too consistent, it's too persistent. It happens not only here in the United States, it's a global phenomenon. It's happened for centuries. It cannot be simply that everyone is hallucinating all of this phenomenon at the same time. It just does not make any sense. We don't have that. We don't have these kinds of huge collective global hallucinations going on. If we do, then we have a very sick world and we need a lot of heavy medication. So there is obviously something that has to be going on. Now the question is, do these forces represent disembodied spirits, or could they be something else? And this is where we get into all of these shadings of meanings and interpretations of the phenomenon. And just as there are many experiences, there are many different interpretations for what may be going on. Some of this may be coming from outside of us in terms of disembodied spirits. I believe that's very possible. Much of this may be coming through a combination of our own psychic or latent psychic abilities and the ability to project phenomena outside of ourselves psychically and cause objects to move, for example, as in poltergeist phenomenon or in demonic possession, where very often many of the people who suffer from demonic possession come from sexually abusive histories and backgrounds. So there may be a tie-in between that particular background that they have and this kind of phenomenon that's happening outside of them, which they think is totally external, but which is connected to them in a very important way.
Talking to Peter Jordan, who's going to be speaking tonight at Austin Peay Monday night. And when we're going to take a quick break, we'll come back and we'll find out where maybe you can find out more information, not only about Peter, but about the field, the paranormal field, and what Peter's going to be talking about tonight. We'll be right back.